Hi, this is Sophie
Hi.
Lisbeth, the freelance blogger, and I'm sitting here with Linda Formichelli at the other end of my Google Hangout today. How are you
Hey
doing,
there. How are
Linda?
you? I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Now, could you just quickly fill us in a little bit on your background? And obviously, I'm going to ask you a few questions about that anyway, but like a quick summary of who you are, just in case anybody doesn't know already.
Sure. So I have been a full-time freelance writer since 1997, so I'm coming on 18 years in July. And it's mostly magazine writing. I've written for Redbook, Writer's Digest, Health, USA Weekend, Oxygen, a lot of magazines like that, including ones you haven't heard of, like Pizza Today and In-Plant Graphics. I've also done a lot of copywriting and content writing for companies like Sprint, TripAdvisor, OnStar, Bay State Gas, and Pizzeria Uno. I also run the Renegade Writer blog, which is based on a book I did with a co-author called The Renegade Writer, A Totally Unconventional Guide to Freelance Writing Success. And I am just coming out with my new book, which is called Commit: How to Blast Through Problems and Reach Your Goals Through Massive Action.
Awesome. So, the very first thing that I know people are going to want to find out is how you got into blogging and especially how you became a book author, because I know that's like the secret dream in a lot of freelance writers' hearts.
Sure. And yeah, how I became a book author was that I had been freelance writing for magazines for maybe 5 years, and I had discovered that a lot of the rules you read about in freelance writing magazines and books were kind of bogus. For example, they would tell you you need to keep your magazine article pitch letter to under 1 page. So I was doing that and doing that and doing that and not having a whole lot of success. And I got an email from an editor at Women's Day who said, I really like your article idea, but I would like it if you put more research into your pitch. So I did some research, I did some interviews. It turned out to be this like 3 page monster pitch, and it sold my first national women's magazine article, which pays pretty well. So that was sweet. After that, I started writing these big pitches, breaking the rule of writing 1 page pitches, and I started breaking into Redbook and Family Circle, and my career really took off. So I was talking to an editor of mine, and I said, I should write an article about how to break into freelance writing by breaking the rules. And he said, well, forget that. You should write a book on it. So a co-author and I wrote a book proposal, sent it out to, a dozen or so big publishers, got rejected by all of them, and we kind of gave up. And then I got an email from an old editor of mine at a trade magazine. I think it was Modern Reaper Graphics, like an old printing trade magazine. And he said, I just started a press for books for writers, and I was wondering if you happen to have any ideas. And oh my God, I had the full, 40-page proposal for the Renegade Writer sitting in my drawer. So I sent it to him. He accepted it, and it was published by Marion Street Press in 2003. So that was pretty awesome, and it's been selling ever since. It's been, 12 years. And in 2006, my co-author said, we should start a blog. And I was like, what? What is this blogging thing? I don't know. That sounds stupid. Who's going to want to read a blog? Hey, come on. It was like 9 years ago, right? I don't even think there was a WordPress 9 years ago, was there? I mean,
I am
so
not sure about that. I think the first
yeah,
time someone really explained blogging to me must have been about the same time, 2005, 2006, and it was all
yeah.
like, it was online diaries, I guess, mostly back then.
Yeah, they were weblogs, remember?
Right, yeah.
So, because we originally had an email newsletter that was going out, and she said, "Why don't we turn it into a blog?" So I listened to her, and we did it. And our first blog posts were kind of cringeworthy. They were really short, and they were just like kind of random, and they weren't that great. But as we blogged more and more, we got better and better at it, and our audience grew and grew, and we started a mailing list on Aweber, and that grew and grew. And now what I do is pretty much make a living off of, I'd say, off of blogging. I sell everything through my blog and through my list.
Awesome. So when you say you make a living off of blogging, how many different ways do you make a living? You've already
Okay.
mentioned selling things to your list. Do you also get paid to blog for other people? Do you do the whole affiliate marketing thing? There's so
Yep.
many different ways to make money blogging, isn't there?
Yes. So I have blogged professionally for a couple of companies. So I did blog posts for them and I got paid by the post. I do affiliate marketing through my list. I think of my blog, I think it's a great blog, but what I really want is for people to read the blog and join the list, because I don't sell on the blog. I only sell on the list. And I do some affiliate marketing on the blog. I do guest blogging for some places like you. I've done guest blogging for you, and
Yeah.
John Morrow's blog and Mary Yaksh's blog, and that brings people onto the blog. And I also I do a lot of e-courses by myself and with Carol Tice of the Freelance Writers Den, and I sell all of those through the list, and the blog leads to the list. It's really kind of I don't know. It's not, it's not a straight on like I blog and the money comes in. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's that way for a lot of bloggers or.
I think probably it is, yeah. I mean, certainly for me, when people say sales funnel, I just, the picture that you have of this perfect symmetrical sales funnel is like so much bullshit compared to what I have. My sales funnel is lumpy as hell and goes kind of twisting all over the place.
Yeah, it's so lumpy. I mean, I get money from PayPal and it comes in from here and it comes in from there and it comes in from this other place, but it's all somehow related to this blog.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty much exactly like mine. Awesome.
Good, I don't feel so bad.
Me neither. It's really nice to hear that not everybody's got like this beautiful, smooth, streamlined, I know exactly what I'm doing every second of the day, and this percentage comes from here and that percentage comes from there. I'd take a week to get percentages.
Oh my
Just
God.
going through the math in different platforms.
Yeah, I'm pretty fly by the seat of your pants, and it really works out for me. I've only in the last 2 years started actually tracking my income, with FreshBooks. Before that, it was crazy, but it always made a living. So
yeah, I think the basics of tracking your income is there money in the bank? If there is, I'm okay.
That's pretty much how it's been until 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to shut up about finances now in case I'm boring anybody, and I'm going to ask you, so the book is called Commit, and it is all about taking massive action and committing to just one thing at a time and doing everything you can to move it, whether it's a marble or a mountain. So I wanted to ask you, what made you decide to write this book now? How come this wasn't the first book you wrote, or how come this is an idea whose time has come today and not another 5 years from now?
Right. And, I feel like I'm supposed to come up with some deep answer as to why this book is particularly needed at this particular juncture in time. But really, like I was saying, I fly by the seat of my pants and I grab ideas as they come up. And now is when I happened to think of the idea for Commit, because I was doing one of my twice yearly life reviews, and it just popped into my head that anytime my life moved forward in some amazing way, it was because I took massive actions. And the idea kind of settled in my head and started growing until I thought, I need to write a book on this. And it actually started out, I was going to do like a really short, quickie 99-cent ebook. It was going to be like 10 pages. And it wouldn't leave my head. I just kept thinking of more and more ideas and more ways to commit, and it grew to be, over 90 pages, the PDF. I'm not sure how that translates into Kindle, but it just kind of grew organically. I don't know. It probably would have been just as necessary 5 years ago or 5 years from now, but now is when I thought of it.
Awesome answer. Okay, so looking at the whole theme of the book, do you think that commitment is something that you really can learn? Like, you could sit there and, on page 1 of reading the book, people would be going, I can't commit to anything and I have no willpower and I'm no good at this. Can they learn that? Or are some people really born better at committing to action than others?
Right. I think it's both. We all know people whose natural attitude when they have a problem or they have a goal is that they just throw everything at it. And that's my natural attitude. When I have a goal, I just take every resource I can think of and I throw it at it all at once. But that doesn't mean you can't learn it. I think that even if committing isn't your natural inclination, once you try it, it gives you results, and then you start to adopt the commit mindset. And in the book, there's a lot about getting ready, getting mentally prepared, getting into the commit mindset. And at the end, there's a whole section on troubleshooting, what happens when you come up against common roadblocks. So it's not like I just throw you in there and say, hey, let's start committing. There is a lot of preparation and thinking that goes into it. But it is, you can learn it or it can be natural, I think.
Interesting question that's just come into my head. Do you think some people deliberately prevent themselves from committing to things because they're just plain afraid?
Yeah, actually, this is something I talk about in the book. I think some people use perfectionism as kind of a shield. So they have this goal that they really want, like use blogging as an obvious example. I really want to be a freelance blogger. And I really need to write up a pitch to get people interested in my blogging for their site. But I don't know how to write a perfect pitch. I know that committing would be, I'm going to send out 300 of these. But first I have to write the perfect pitch. And it's never, ever going to be perfect, so I give up. So I don't know if that's necessarily that they're doing it on purpose, that they're thinking, I don't want to do this, so I'm going to sabotage myself. But I think that's what goes on in a lot of people's heads, especially writers.
Mm-hmm. And even in other fields of life as well. I mean, the example that you used at the beginning of the book was to do with panic attacks.
Yes.
And I actually know a couple of people who are agoraphobic, who have anxiety attacks, those kind of things. And sometimes it really does seem like they are just thinking, okay, well, if I ever cure my agoraphobia, then I'll have to go and do a bunch of stuff that I've been able to avoid by sitting at home saying I can't possibly do that, I have agoraphobia.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a really interesting thought. I mean, I think that probably goes on in a lot of people's heads is they're also afraid of success. You know what happens if I commit and I
succeed? Or like
succeed?
if you see friends who are... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, go ahead.
You go ahead. I was just going to say, sometimes I look at my friends who are dieting and I think the same thing as well. It's like they want to lose half a... I was going to say half a stone, but that won't make any sense to Americans. They want to lose like a few pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're worried because they're going to have to buy a whole new wardrobe because men are going to look at them differently.
Yes.
Are they going to seem as professional if they're slim and look like supermodels? All this, and you think none of this is really a problem, is it? I mean, if you want to lose weight, you just lose weight.
Right. I mean, that's how it should be in the best of all worlds. But I think what a lot of people are afraid of is that if they commit to improving their lives in any sort of way, losing weight, becoming a successful blogger, whatever, it is going to kind of take them out of the circle of people that they normally hang out with, if that makes sense. Everybody's used to the status quo. They're used to you weighing too much. They're used to you saying, oh, I wish I was a blogger. They're used to the level of success you're at. And if you suddenly shoot ahead and do something amazing, that makes people uncomfortable, and that's scary.
Right, yeah. People are just kind of afraid of shaking things up in any kind of direction.
Yeah.
Even if it's a good direction, it's scary, I guess.
Yeah, it is scary. But, one thing I like to think of is that you don't help your friends and your family and your circle of acquaintances by holding yourself back. You only help them if you can shoot ahead, commit, get something done, make something of yourself, and then you can inspire and help other people.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. That's your greeting card.
Okay. So moving from that kind of motivational statement right into my next question, it's semi-relevant. I was going to ask you, I already know that your style is not that kind of woo-woo, sit and meditate and sprinkle salt around you in a circle and all that other kind of stuff, but for people who are afraid of the idea of self-help and think that we're all meditating hippies, could you just outline how this book is different to some of the more woo-woo self-help guru stuff people might not want to pick up and sully their hands with?
Yeah, and I purposely tried to make this different from those woo-woo books because I love reading self-help, and I get so frustrated when a book is super motivational and I'm all fired up, and then I close the book and the motivation goes away because I cannot figure out how to put the author's advice into action. For example, you might read something in a self-help book where a bullet point will say, embrace discomfort, and you're like, okay, ready, set, go, I'm embracing discomfort. I mean, you can't do that. Um, so in Commit, it's very motivational. I tried to use motivational languages and motivational or language and motivational situations, but it's also instructional. And what I did was I looked up people's top goals and problems. I just looked up, what are the top 10 New Year's goals people set, for example. And there are things like starting a business, losing weight, repairing a relationship, learning language, decluttering your house. And I used all of these as examples throughout the book for each commit tactic. So for each of the 20 tactics in the books, I give examples of how it can be used to go after the common goals most people have. And then on top of that, each commit tactic ends with a commit now assignment is what it's called, that you can complete right then before you read on, because commit is about taking action fast. I don't want people to read through the book, close it, and be like, oh, that was nice, next. I want them to actually start committing as they read the book, so that's what happens with the commit now assignments. So I hope that answers the
Super
question.
cool. Yeah. Okay, so for people who get to one of those little commit points, or who've kind of written out their plan for massive action and then get the fear, the people who can get right up to the point of having it all laid out in front of them and then just can't get going, what would you say to them to get them started?
Okay, that's a good question, because it can be really overwhelming. I mean, you're taking a lot of action, you're putting a lot of yourself into it, and you're thinking, what if I can't keep it up? What if it doesn't work? But the great thing about the commit practice is that it's temporary. And I need to be really clear on that. It's only meant to give you a giant push in the right direction in the beginning, like an initial massive push that is so strong that it keeps you rolling along by momentum. So if your goal is to become a well-paid blogger, you might want to send out a massive amount of pitches to potential clients marketing your blogging services. But once you do that, if you send out 300 of something, you're probably going to land some regular gigs, and you won't need to market as hard. So it's only at the beginning. And as a personal example, when I was starting as a magazine writer, I sent out dozens and dozens and dozens of magazine article pitches. It was basically my full-time job. But you don't have to do that forever. Eventually, I got into what's called editor stables of writers, and these are the writers that they come to and say, hey, can you write an article on X for me? So I hardly ever, right now, if I wanted to, I just wouldn't have to pitch at all. You know what I mean? I could just write to some editors and get some assignments. So the massive action, and can I give another example?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's say you want to lose weight. And your massive action is that you're going to get a running buddy who shows up at your house 3 times a week. You're going to hire a personal trainer. You're going to clear all of the junk food out of your cabinets, and you're going to read 10 diet books, and you're going to look through 10 cookbooks and come up with light recipes, and you're going to shop for all the ingredients. You did this massive push. Now, it's not like this lasts forever. The personal trainer is going to show up. Your running buddy is going to show up. Your cabinets are going to remain free of the junk food. You are going to have all the food for these recipes. Now you're kind of in this state of, I don't know what to call it, like you just keep rolling without having to do that huge push anymore, because the push was so big that it got you moving in the right direction, and it's going to continue naturally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It reminds me of something I've heard Rob Hatch say before about putting success in your path. Once you
Ah.
once you remove all the side tracks that could lead you away from success, success is the only thing left in your path, so you just go towards it by accident.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's perfect. That's perfect, because you have set yourself up for success, and now it's just happening automatically. You automated success.
Yeah, exactly. You take the stuff out of the cupboards, so there is no side track of eating junk food to go down anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went to that massive effort of hiring somebody to help you, or going to a fitness buddy website and committing to running with somebody 3 days a week. Those people are going to show up. You don't have to call them every time and set up dates and everything. It's going to happen.
Yeah. So basically we're saying commit, do a huge push, and then you can almost coast and it will still work. That's
Coasting is
fantastic.
the yes, coasting is the perfect word. I keep wanting to say inertia, but that's not the right word. That sounds bad. That sounds bad. But yeah, you want to coast, and that's what it helps you do. And I think you might need to tweak along the way. Like eventually you're going to run out of that food, and you're going to need to buy more healthy food, and but so there's going to be little tweaks, little pushes along the way, but it's not going to be that huge, massive initial push that you did at the beginning.
Fantastic. Okay, I guess I will leave it at that because I don't want to keep people too long. Let me just quickly say, over on the right-hand side of this video, you can see a little picture of the cover of Commit, and if you click there, you'll be able to download the first couple of chapters for free so that you can actually check out Linda's book, see what you think of it, and if you like it, you'll then be able to go and buy a full copy.
Awesome. Thank you so
Okay,
much for having me.
thank you for being here. It's been great. Okay, I guess I will probably talk to you again sometime soon, but take care for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.